The Australian government wants to ban social media for young people under the age of, I believe, about 14 to 16. And contrary to popular belief, I kind of agree with them in a way. Let me explain. Welcome to AFK with FJ, the podcast that takes you away from the keyboard and into some of the topics surrounding the gaming community, both socially and gamely, stuff like the metas in games, what's happening in the news, etc., etc. Now, this week, it was brought to my attention that the Australian government wants to ban social media for teenagers. The age that's getting thrown around at this stage is around 14 to 16, being the cutoff age, and it's very interesting. Now, I'm a little on the fence, in all honesty. I kind of clickbaited you at the start there by saying I agreed with that. I do agree with it, but there are loads good things and loads of bad things about social media, especially for young people. And I think that there is a lot of things to talk about. Ironically, a lot of this ties into what we talked about on the last episode when we were talking about appropriate online behaviors, gaming, and as especially as a young person, gaming with potentially adults. And this is really interesting because I think this almost follows through from that. So last week we talked about how you can find yourself in some very negative situations as a young person if you don't know how to handle certain social situations online. That is, the same with social media, except that with social media is more about sharing content and sharing yourself. So you're sharing a piece of yourself. With gaming, yes, you're still sharing a piece of yourself, but that piece of yourself is not quite as raw. A lot of young people, when they're on social media, they're either posting cool photos of them in funky outfits, posting funny videos of themselves, or in many cases, like posting art. Now, that is all well and good, but especially category of posting imagery and skits, videos of themselves, there's a lot of positives and negatives that can open up to that. Before I deep dive into that, let's talk about the positives and the negatives of social media for a start. Some of the pros of social media is it gets you criticism, feedback from a much wider audience than what you otherwise would be getting if you were to be sharing, say, your work or yourself with your community around you, as well as being a great opportunity to engage with other people, ask questions to experts. A lot of social medias allow you to get in touch with people who know some very, very clever things. And I think that one way to curb missing out on that would be to allow young people to be on social media but not posting and have some really strict rules on what types of content they could see. Because there is a wealth of information online, especially in the social elements of social media. Now, let's look at the negatives. And albeit I have a slightly longer list of negatives, but it's not to say that there's more negatives than positives, like they're more valued. It's just that there's more little ones. The primary thing that comes with social media is it's addictive because it gives you this sense of always wanting to be clued in. A lot of social media nowadays is these bite-sized posts, either reels, which are only up to a minute, photos, short text captions, little memes, all these things that are designed to be consumed quickly. And this often leads to what young people call doom scrolling. Now, doom scrolling is when you end up on social media and you just start scrolling and scrolling. And all of a sudden, 45 minutes have passed and you have no idea what you've done or the amount of time that you've wasted. Now, I find myself in the doom scroll quite often. I have a very, very severe problem because it comes into this attention deficit that a lot of young people are getting nowadays. I think we're breeding more ADHD kids because there is so many more distractions for them to latch onto. I think that probably has something to do with each other. I think a lot of that particular issue comes from us not knowing, not experiencing this in advance. So when all of this was introduced to our young people, we didn't know how to appropriately regulate or balance it. And neither did they because it was something new. See, kids are great self-regulators. They're not great self-regulators when the things that they're dealing with, they have no extra information other than first-hand experience. So it's kind of like giving a kid cocaine and then expecting them to self-regulate the dosage. Yeah, no, TikTok, shorts, reels, all this stuff is kids' cocaine. So you got to be sort of careful. Another thing that comes with this, another negative that I think about is in our self-esteem as young people. I post content practically daily. And I'm constantly thinking about like, oh, what do people think of this? Oh, we didn't have enough viewers. Oh, what's this person thinking? It took me a very, very long time to get to the point that I'm at now. And even now, I'm still very insecure about what people are thinking of me. Now you look at a young person and they're suddenly thrown into this world of, oh, by the way, you should be this or you should be that. Hey, I think that you should lose weight. All these extra criticisms, it's very difficult, even if you're not posting yourself and you're posting something that you're working on, it's very easy for people on the internet to say, oh, that's not very good. You shouldn't be doing this, because there's no barrier to saying that. There's no need for impulse control because there's no consequences to saying something that could be nasty. Now, in our society, in every layer of marketing, we've taught men and women, girls and boys, that sexualizing themselves is a great way to get attention, positive attention. So you see a lot of teenagers posting bikini pics, boys who are shirtless down at the beach. These things that are designed to try and just get people, aroused and attentive to them. Now, that's not really the way that you should be attracting a boyfriend or girlfriend in your adolescence. However, doing it doesn't only just create a negative way of finding a partner, it also creates a really negative opportunity for some creepos on the internet to come find you. Uncle Tommy from the Christmas party that you don't like to sit near, a lot more people than him are seeing those photos. You don't want that because it's dangerous. So I think that there's a lot of really interesting points to be made when it comes to social media being banned for young people, because especially on those points, if you're posting inappropriate content, you're going to get feedback. It's not always going to be good feedback, and it's not always going to be good attention. On top of that, it can be very addictive, much like online gaming can be addictive. Games like Rust that require you to be constantly in game because it's persistent. When you log off, it doesn't pause. When you log off, it keeps moving. Your resources use themselves up and your bases decay, and you need to be topping them up. It's dangerous and it's addictive. Without regulation, it is so, so bad. Social media is the exact same, wherein the best approach to social media is to just find the right regulations. Don't ban it altogether, but find ways to moderate it, Make it so that there are AIs in place that notice if a child is trying to post a bikini pic and stops them, says, no, that's not appropriate. Make sure that there are age verifications on who can actually sign up for an account. Make it that you need an ID to set an account. How about that? Make it that the algorithms let young people's account view content but not post content. Those would be very interesting points, because the same comes to gaming. We talked the other day about how if we're playing video games and we're experiencing conversations online with people, you end up in these very risky situations because you never know who you're going to be talking to. On social media, it's the exact same, but you've got a lot more of yourself, especially if you're posting photos and videos of yourself. So I think that's something really interesting to think about. I'd love to know what you think on that, because ultimately social media is a great tool, but it's also a dangerous tool. And I'd really love to know where you sit on the position of young people and social media, because it certainly is a blessing and a tool, but that tool can also be manipulated into a weapon. So let me know, guys. Until next time, I've been FJ. This is AFK with FJ. Like, subscribe, and comment what you'd like to hear us talk about next. But otherwise, God bless and have an amazing time. Day, night, morning, evening. I don't know when you're clocking into this, but enjoy it. See you on the next one, guys.